So yeah, this was a review I wasn't planning to do today, but yeah, I think I picked the best shirt to wear for this particular review. Uh, okay, so yeah, I'm bringing you my review for My Hero Academia, Chapter 284, and just to get it out there first, I am gonna do the Fire Force review as well. It's just because of this review took me by surprise, and it's kind of one of those things where the manga reviews for My Hero Academia and One Piece are quicker to do than the Fire Force. So I'm just gonna do this one and get to that one later today. But with that said, okay, so yeah, My Hero Academia chapter 284. So first off, I have to talk about that flashback where you see Ochiko, Seto, and Tsuyu pretty much being brought in by All Might to help him with his training in order to train like Black Whip. And one thing I really like about it is that even though the training was originally meant to help him control Black Whip, you can see how Izuku had used those exact same fundamentals in order to grasp flight. In order to grasp flight, or more specifically, like from Shinana Shimura's float quirk. Because taking a deeper look at these three characters in particular, Ochiko, Tsuyu and Seto, each of them in their own way does have a grasp on a certain aspect of flight. So whether or not All Might intentionally planned it this way or not, judging by his dialogue, he definitely did not. It would make the most sense that they would be the ones to not only teach Izuku, but that Izuku would end up using those exact same principles in order to utilize like Nana's float quirk as quickly and efficiently as he does in both in the previous chapter and in this chapter. Like, it's one of those things that it does kind of explain away as to how he can do it, but just in the way that they use just in the way that this chapter visually explores Izuku's training with Ochiko and Tsuyu and Seto. You can definitely see the groundwork being laid for basically how Izuku was able to was able to grasp a hold of Nana's quirk so pretty much easily and efficiently. Um, and continuing with the flashback, though, one of the major standout characters of this chapter was Bakugo, as he pretty much has his, I guess you could call it the French, his French endeavor moment, um, through basically his discussion with All Might, and through the most simplistic of means in that back and forth, you see how Bakugo has matured, on top of just how much he's come to care for Izuku as a genuine friend. Because he said it himself in this chapter. He bullied Izuku because it was his own way of hiding his weakness. But over time, the more their weaknesses as well as their genuine feelings for each other got exposed to each other, the more the respect between them grew. And leading to this point, of course, which has all been leading to this point. But of course, in this case, for Bakugo, the means by which he cares for Izuku and respects him now is also rooted in a deep concern for the kind of burden that Izuku has to carry, and just where that burden and where that responsibility is leading him. Which, yeah, just based on Shigaraki's desire in order to claim One for All, there's definitely a reason to be concerned. And even more so, what exactly is the one hidden truth about pretty much One for All that even All Might is not sure of, but he has some kind, like, there's definitely a hidden truth here that hasn't been explored with One for All, obviously, but it's just on the basis of what that hidden truth might be. It's definitely enough cause for concern that it's going to lead Izuku down a path of hardship for sure. And I think it's, again, I'm not entirely sure if it's exactly what Horikoshi is going to do, but it does kind of sow the seeds of what I was talking about before, that maybe it has something to do with how it'll affect quirks quirk society as a whole or something like that. Um, Also, Bakugo, in many respects at this point, is pretty much the readers right now because when he was telling All Might that given the current situation, telling All Might that given the current situation with One for All, with All for One, with One for All for One, he's not wrong. He's not wrong in what he's saying. We've reached such a boiling point where the truth about these quirks getting out is kind of inevitable at this point. And the thing is that part of the conversation kind of exposes just how much All Might is in denial of this. I mean, he even said it himself. The training he put Izuku through in order to control Black Whip was also to prevent the next quirk from exploding out. But as we've seen during this whole war, even that is kind of out the window because of how Izuku he managed to awaken like Nana Shimura's float quirk. And don't get me wrong, All Might's point in some ways, in some very small ways, is still valid. However, it's something where you can tell he's with All Might right now, and where All Might's mind is when it comes to One for One. You can tell he's trying to pretend that the scenario of the world knowing about these quirks isn't a scenario at all. Like, he's trying to pretend it's something that doesn't exist. It's a scenario that doesn't exist because to him when he thinks of, because to All Might, when he thinks of all for one, One for All being exposed to the truth of these quirks being exposed to the world, all he can see is the worst case scenario. All he can see is really the worst case scenario. But the fact of the matter is, unless you can control Izuku's very will and emotional drive to save people, then it's something that All Might can't control, and he has to come to terms with that keeping this whole battle between the two brothers secret is crumbling. Like Izuku's, like when you look at all the accomplished, like Izuku's development and how far he himself has awakened like all this power within, like from All for One, or One for All, sorry. It really shows just how, like, just on that fact alone, it's becoming hard in order to control this situation. So it's definitely something that All Might, I think, has to kind of come to terms with, or at the very least he has to kind of come clean to all of Class 1A, because if at the very least that much has to be happen, because it's reaching a point where it's not possible. It's becoming less possible to keep this whole thing a secret in general. So yeah, like at the very least, All Might has to come to terms with that. He has to at least tell Class 1A. He and Izuku do need to come clean to them at the very least. Like, keeping it secret from the rest of the world, I can kind of understand. Like, I think most average people would kind of just shrug it off, honestly. But in terms of those closest to him, yeah, it's becoming less and less likely to keep that a secret. Now, with all that said, the battle between Shigaraki and Izuku has more or less ended with this chapter, but as I had said previously, I don't believe this is the final climactic endgame battle of the series, because there are still so many ways right now in which he can Shigaraki can escape. Plus because Horikoshi had chosen to take the time and go down the path of showing Shigaraki's entire body breaking down during that battle, that in itself just shows that he wasn't even at the full potential of his power yet. So yeah, I feel this whole thing, even though obviously this battle in itself has ended, I feel we are looking down one of those classic scenarios of they won the battle but are still going to lose the war, and Shigaraki will escape and come back even stronger. I'm guessing that's kind of how the path we're going down right now. But Yeah, guys, that's all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Mr. Crunchyroll. Death Mad me, signing off. Later, guys.